My name is Neha Jolly Sani. I lead ad solutions for Snapchat in India. It's an incredibly exciting space to be in. We represent a significant portion of the Gen Z consumer in India, and of course Jaipuria has done a fabulous job inviting us here. I want to start by setting the context a little bit. So we did a study with BCG about a year ago, and that study revealed some very interesting insights. Chief among them was that the Gen Z population in India is about 377 million in India alone, right? Which, by the way, surpasses the population of the United States. It is also the largest population that has lived in this country. Snapchat is very, very proud and very pleased to share that our monthly active users are upward of 250 million, which essentially means that we're representing one of the largest populations in the country. And contrary to popular belief, 1 in 4 Gen Zs are actually making their own money, they're meaningfully contributing to the economy. And so this is an incredibly interesting space to be in. For a couple of different reasons. One, that we're able to address their needs as brands. We're able to reach out to this up and coming generation that is going to meaningfully contribute to the economy in the next, let's say, 10 years. But also, I think the way brands can engage with this generation is so incredibly interesting on a platform like Snapchat, which is essentially a camera native platform, and it opens up on the camera. A large percentage of our daily active users do start with being on the camera, and then they move on to the chat tab, and then they move on to consuming platform native content. So I think platforms like Snapchat really allow brands the opportunity to reach out and engage with this audience very, very meaningfully. So, AI is a very interesting space, I think, to operate in. Firstly, I'm incredibly happy to share, right, that Snap has its own native AI support. It's called My AI, and it does all kinds of interesting, cool things. You can ask it a question. It can it can offer you, recipes. It can offer you potential travel plans. Like you have to interact with it in a way that it's able to sort of create all of this incredible content or incredible options for you. And so My AI, I think, is an incredibly powerful tool because right in a platform where you are interacting with some of your closest friends, right? Snap is usually between 8 to 10 closest friends that you would operate with, is an inbuilt My AI tool that helps you do a lot of the cool things that you would want to do with your friends. So I think AI and Snap incredibly, incredibly well paired together. As we are continuing to progress, I mean, if you were to compare the tech landscape back in the 80s to the tech landscape as recently as 2020 when the pandemic hit, there has been so much evolution. And I think it is the responsibility of academic institutions like Jaipuria to make sure that they're empowering their students to go out into the workforce, to go out in the world fully empowered with what's up and coming and what's updated and what's recent. So I think that just from an AI standpoint, I think what Jaipuria is doing, which is becoming AI native, is the right step in making sure that the students that graduate from their programs are actually empowered and equipped to take on real world challenges. And Snap as a platform is meant to be a happy place. And a happy place means that there is authenticity and uniqueness and a space to be truly yourself. And I think that renders itself to creativity as well, because while you can use a lot of AI tools to think through a creative thought process or develop a creative visual, that authenticity really comes from the individual. And I think AI is a catalyst to a finalized outcome or an output, but the stories are so inherently deeply personal, and I think it's about making sure that you're at the right intersection of being human and leveraging the right AI tool to create a compelling story for a brand, for yourself. And I think one of the things that I heard today was blandness, which is essentially, I think it was a really creative way of demonstrating how if you were to take off the human element and just sort of focus on AI, all of the outcome, tends to feel very similar. And this is a very generic comment, so I will say that as a caveat. But it tends to feel very similar, very identical. So I do think that, a platform like Snap where you're authentically yourself and you leverage the right tools for AI, from a creative standpoint, they do allow you to come across as incredibly authentic, but also while you're leveraging technology in the right way. As a business, leader, I think there is a certain amount of responsibility that all organizations must carry. And all, I think, the new workforce must carry, which is to make sure that there is, again, like I said, authenticity, and we're just operating within the realms of responsible AI, and I think that's really it. But just really from a recruitment standpoint, firstly, I am not a Gen Z, so I definitely don't claim to understand the way this generation operates. But I do think that we're trying to combine two different things. I think the way Gen Z's language has evolved is representative of how they're consuming their environment and how they're showing up as themselves. And that's uniquely them. And I genuinely don't think that there is a generalization to that. I think each generation will obviously have commonalities and factors that bind them together. And I think Gen Z is showing up incredibly authentically. They're showing up in a way that demonstrates them personally. And I think that's incredible, right? From an AI standpoint, again, I do think it depends on the usage, it depends on the prompts. I think it's about leveraging AI tools, whether they are text tools, visual tools, video creation tools, analysis tools. There are so many different sort of options out there, but I think it's really just the input that goes into the tool, and therefore the output could be very similar to something else, or it could be very different. But I think it's the prompt or the input that makes the difference. So I do think they are two separate things. I think Gen Z lingo is absolutely fabulous. I don't know if I can say I have a favorite ad, but I will say that over the last couple of years, a lot of the Diwali ads that have come out have always come from such an incredibly festive, family-oriented way. And to me personally, that speaks very closely to me. And I think that if I was to close my eyes and think of some of the most memorable ads, they would probably be around the Diwali theme. And I love that brands in India just do such an incredible job of orienting it around one of the largest festivals in the country. And they're so incredibly heartfelt. Absolutely love them.